Hey everyone, it's Magnetics. Today we're going to be talking about a trade I made involving Twitter. We're going to be going through the actual setup of the trade, how I actually made the decision to go ahead and do a buy and sell, and how I actually performed doing this trade, and talk about some things I learned along the way. Let's go ahead and get started. So the other day, Twitter showed up under one of my stock scans that it was undergoing a potential MACD trading swing. So the graph you're taking a look at right now is the graph I was able to see on, it was January 28th. I noticed that Twitter had basically swung under the zero MACD and was trending back up. RSI was also swinging back up. The 200 exponential moving average was also making moves in the upward direction, and there was a lot of space between where the current stock price was and where one of the other highs were in the past. So everything I was looking for was actually setting up very nicely. We had our 200 exponential moving average trending up. We had our MACD change over under zero, and we had our RSI rising, and we also had a decent amount of space between the current stock price and the all-time high. Unfortunately, due to all the GameStop and all the Wall Street bets things, some other trades I had been involved in before that were taking a bit longer to clear some of the funds, so I wasn't able to enter exactly on this date, but I was able to get in and get a few percent return on this trade. So once I wanted to actually go ahead and make this trade, I had to make sure that I was actually in a good position to make it and wasn't going to be at risk of anything that was out of my control. So the first thing I did is I took a look at all the target prices for Twitter. So the target prices ranged from 19 to 67 with a median of 51 and an average of 50. So that was actually something that sort of worried me while I was going through this, but I still felt that Twitter was a strong stock to buy. Unfortunately, because of them banning Donald Trump while he was still president, there were actually a lot of people who were actually short selling Twitter to try to drive the stock price down. I felt this wasn't a very full-hearted effort because if there were really a huge number of people trying to short the stock, we would have seen a larger dip in the stock price when that actual ban happened. So the average sitting at 50.03 and the price actually around between 51 and 52, I still felt confident that there was a way that Twitter was actually going to be able to go up to that 56 level that we saw in their previous high. So one thing I'm trying to take a look at here is basically, is there a large downside to doing this? We're at $52 now, going down to 50 wouldn't be too bad. If it was around like 38, low 40s, then that would something I'd be concerned about. But since we were relatively close by, I wasn't too worried about the risk involved. The next time I want to take a look at was the earnings date. So I noticed that in the chart that the earnings date had happened back in around November, and we were definitely due for one. So I took a look and found that the next earning date was going to be February 9th, and I also did some checking to see how that earnings might actually go. I sort of took a look if it was an underperformance, a neutral performance, or if it was going to be an overperformance. And a lot of the estimates were basically around that it was going to be pretty neutral to a potential overperform. So I felt that this was probably a safe bet to go ahead. And additionally, because it was about 2 weeks out from this actual earning date, I felt that getting in and getting out within that time frame was doable. And actually, it's February 7th where I'm recording this right now, so the earnings date hasn't even happened yet, and I was able to complete my trade before that date even happened. So let's talk about what actually happened in the trade. Due to some of the GameStop and Wall Street bets items, like I said before, some of my funds from some other trades took a little bit longer than I was expecting. It actually took the full 2 days when usually it only takes one day, which is kind of a bummer. So I wasn't able to get in on this very first day where the swing started occurring, but that actually kind of helped me out a little bit. It was sort of lucky. So going to the right, we actually see that the next day it actually sort of kicked back down a little bit, and as we went on, it started to rise. So I was able to get in at around $52 per share, and then I was able to sell at $55 a share. And you might be saying, 55, why would you sell at 55? The previous high was 56. And so, yeah, I definitely noticed that. I recognize that as a potential missed opportunity, but based upon the previous high, the short sellers that were going after them after the Trump ban, and additionally, Twitter does have a monetization problem. Basically, the only way they make money is through ads and promoted tweets. So I really didn't feel like that they could really push through too much further than that previous high, especially with all those items going on and earnings coming up. So I was able to sell at 55. I got a few percent return, which I was very happy about. I'll take those all day long. It was a win. It was positive. I'll take it. Obviously, you can see by the chart that it kept going. That's great. Good for the stock. I'm happy I got my win. I'm happy I got my positive few percent, and now I can move on to the next trade. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for spending a few minutes to hear about it today. Definitely recommend checking out my MACD trading strategy video. This is actually the same exact strategy I used. And then another video, I'll be talking about how I actually do a stock scan for some of these and how I've been able to have a few wins with that, only using it a few weeks. So have a great day. Thanks for spending some time. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Have a good one.